The thing about side control is, it's like I say, it's not one position. If somebody's on your back, they've either got the hooks in, which is bad, they've got a body triangle, which is bad, but I mean, it's one fixed position pretty much. And all the escapes are pretty similar. It's the same with mounts. You know, if the person's sitting low on your hips, it's bad. If the person's sitting on your chest, it's really bad, but it's pretty much the same position. Side control is not. You know, the person can change his hips, have different grips. So we'll cover some basics from all the things from side control and where it leads to as well. It leads to things like knee on belly, north-south, and we'll kind of get as far as we can with all of that. Just to explain some of those things, can I borrow you please? Is that what I mean by this is just lay down. Standard side control, you couldn't just in this position, but I can easily just switch my hips. And if you don't accordingly change your position now, you are vulnerable to a whole host of different attacks. Same as here, I can also just switch my hips this way. This also changes a lot of things for the person on the bottom. Again, I can improve my position, and his submission's here for me as well. And he doesn't move his position accordingly. He also, once again, he's in trouble. I can also go what they call cross-side, where I'm virtually over his shoulder here, and I'm blocking the hip. This, I think, is one of the most dangerous positions for another box to be caught in. Then you also have the wrestler's pin, with the guys here. So you've got all these things that change kind of what happens. Okay, so we'll try and cover all of them, pretty much. Okay, so let's start with the basics. So look, hand positions. Everybody kind of on this side of the room here if possible. Just looking around to see more diagrams. Yeah, I actually want to put that on my wall. You'll be surprised, I'm teaching a technique and half the guys are over here. And I know they haven't got a clue what I'm doing. So, yeah, hand positions. Yeah, on this side, please. A lot of people like to do this. Control the shoulder, elbows in, stretch the head down. Okay, that's normally when you want to cover guard. Also, a lot of people are here, forearm under the throat. Just come on. Don't put your hand on the shoulder, which is really important later on in life. If you want to keep your wrists where they are, just use the forearm and people block the hip. The one I find the best is just to come here, in this position here. So I literally put my fingers in the armpit, my hand goes on the bicep, now put some weight on me, some pressure on me. And the problem for the guy on top now is he can never go chest to chest. There's always going to be space. And for me to move him, it doesn't take any real effort because my shoulder girdle is all joined up. Also, you can't Kimura me from side control. Okay, you can't Americana me. You can't get access to my collar. You can't bring his lapel under my arm. Okay, to do a clock choke. And it cuts down a lot of the problems you have. It's the reason why I like training a lot with De La Riva. He's a small guy with a lot of technique. Just step around people. Does anybody know Roger's black belt from Croatia, Dejan Mihanovic? You don't know him. 6'5", 115 kilos, no body fat. Croatian powerlifting champion, 80cc qualifier, an all-round horrible man. He loves training with me. You know why? All I do is tap repeatedly. And all he does, when he's in this position, you make a normal frame, he just does this. And all he does is that. And you are done every single time. And because you're all taught to make a frame like this, which is not wrong. It's not a wrong thing to do, it's just one of many ways to do the same thing. But the point is when you get a big heavy guy leaning on the shoulder, the hand starts to go away from your body, you're not getting that back. You can't reach across and push because then he'll just commute on this side. So it's a real problem. So it's about hiding the far arm. And again, this kind of frame, it's just another way of doing the same thing. If you don't like it, that's cool, it's not a problem. But it also makes a lot of the other escapes a lot easier. So what I'm saying is, a lot of the escapes you'll do is when you're here, you walk your hips, you pass your arm under the body, you'll bridge, you'll come out to head of arm. Or you'll hip out, bridge in, pass the arm. But when you're making the frame here, you do this motion. or this motion. So you're always keeping the person's weight off of you. So we'll do this, some of these escapes, we'll do it with this kind of frame today. So put your in the hot seat, please. So basically what Seymour's going to do is he's just going to put these fingers in my armpit and put his bike on here. Now I'm going to put all my weight on. See how I can't get my chest on his chest. If he has a normal frame here, and I'm a heavy guy, all of a sudden now, I've got in that gap. All of a sudden now, my dad body's being used to its finest. Okay? And now it's hard for Seymour to move because we are close. And I've got weight and gravity on my side. When you do this, you're already going to have this much space to work with. Not saying you're going to escape, but you have that much space you can have in the first place. You're not pinned chest to chest. Is that kind of clear for everybody? So to try to explain what we're going to do before we do it. You don't want this hand in front of the shoulder. For the same reason, a heavy guy will lean on that and bring the hand away from the body. You're going to get Americana from side control. The hand goes in a safe place. It goes in the armpit. It's like doing a bench press. When you link up everything together, it's quite strong. This is also very strong. When you bridge and bring your elbows over your head, it's a strong position. Why? Look what I'm trying to do. My press is going downwards vertically into the floor. It's hard for him to move to his left because my elbow's on his hip. It's hard to move to the right because my knees are there. The one position I'm not strong is in that direction. So even here, if I take my knees off the floor, I put all my weight, if he brings his elbows over his head, he's moving me in a direction where I am not very strong. Okay? Was that kind of clear? Mm-hmm. So what I want to do is, just for a warm-up test, I've already picked somebody roughly your own size. We'll make a normal frame. And blink your hands, I'll take my knees off the floor, just put my weight on you, now move me. Okay, good. Now make the frame I'm showing you. Do the same thing. And you tell me which one you find is a little bit more efficient.
Way easier.
Yeah.
Yeah. To protecting the firearm, does it also protect that near arm? You know when people ride up and get the belt on it and drag it down?
Yeah, I mean, in this position here, it's hidden in a position where I can't have no access to it. It's just under my body. It's just where you really can't get to it. Now, everything you ever learn, there's a counter to it. That's why jiu-jitsu sucks. You know? It's true. I mean, if there was like these unstoppable techniques, we'd all learn that one technique and just destroy each other. So who gets there first? But the thing is, it cuts down a lot of problems you'll normally face from being stuck in side control. And then the question I always ask is, what about the crossface? You're not blocking the crossface. Well, the thing is the crossface goes in that direction, not that direction. A little movement of the elbows and my arm is going over your head anyway. Okay, so it's just this. And you also see this a lot as well. Let's make a normal frame. So look, I squeeze him, he pushes away, and I come through to here. Now I'm going to clutch my friend here. If you make the frame here, arm with the bicep, there's nothing, there's no gap. He's already blocking that as well. So a lot of the common things that happen from the normal frame, just from your position alone, is making it easier for you. A, you can breathe, because you're not chest to chest. B, you have space. C, the person's easier to move. And D, kind of blocking a lot of the basic attacks people can and will try and do on you. So, has anybody done this kind of frame before? Cool, okay. It's my get out of jail free card. So, the previous frames are not wrong. They're all correct. It's down to preference and what you prefer. I just found over time that with big, heavy guys, this kind of frame doesn't lead to anywhere but painville. It's just hard to do anything at all. When I make this frame here, I'm always giving myself opportunities to get myself out from underneath a problem. Okay? So, one more time. Make a normal frame, person on top, put your weight down here, chest to chest, and then get the person trying to move. Excellent. Really, really good. Now make the frame here, do the same thing, put weight on the person, and you tell me how you feel, which is easy, which is not. Just spend just a few times each, guys, with your training partner, then we'll start doing the techniques, okay? So, remember, there's different positions I can change to. Each time I change the position, the rules change. The problems change. The submission attack changes. Everything changes. The drill is from chest to chest. If I turn and face the head, it's a different situation. If I turn and face the hips, it's a different situation. But both hands in the wrestler's pin, it's a different situation. And that is the problem with side control. It's a load of positions mixed together. Okay? And you have to kind of work out which one is which. So, for this drill, when somebody's chest to chest and squeezing the life out of you, this kind of frame just makes it more efficient to move the person. I said, I'm not saying you escape, but it gives you an opportunity that you may wouldn't have had if somebody's chest to chest and you've got no breathing space whatsoever. The thing is, it's like this elbow, people want to bring it away from the body. I mean, generally speaking, if I want to use my knee to do this, it's not going to happen above probably very beginner level. That elbow's not going to move from his body. If I switch my hips and slide this leg under his elbow, yeah, that's going to work. But generally it's because he's pushed on my hip. You know, end of the day, he opens himself up for me because I'm putting pressure on him. He has to do something. And to explain that, if he's in a normal frame, what I personally do is I get my fingers in his armpit here, I pull him towards me, and I drop my shoulder in there. Not nice. No. He's not going to push my elbow, push my shoulder away. He's pushing in the direction that I'm putting pressure on. It's just force meeting force. And I've got gravity and weight. Hair on my side. So it's a problem. So generally what they do is they push on the hip. And that's when I switch my hip. He's given me the elbow. I've not forced it out there. But the pressure made him open up for me. And the problem now is I can just come in, I'll step over for the arm lock. He pushes my knee away from here. Calm. He pushes my knee, I don't go too far. I'm going to crush the hell out of him. I don't know what this is called, but it's horrible. So he's opening up for me because I'm forcing him to do things he really doesn't want to do. Okay? Now I'll make a different frame. The one I'll show you. Now I'm going to put the same pressure on the crossface. The problem for me now is, because he's in my armpit, I can't reach his. I can't even put him in. It's not because of the frame he's made here. And if I start pushing my shoulder in his face, he's moving me this way. Now, as he does that, this frame stays where it is. This hand is already under my body to come out. Just put it off. You want to come under my armpit this way. Yeah. Go. Come to the head and arm position. There. It's already in the correct position. When he's making a frame here, he's got to bring it from this side of my body all the way underneath to the other side. That arm's got to move a long way. And everybody makes a mistake in this position. They always pass the arm under the belt, which should be passed under the armpit. Reason for that, my belt line is where you're heaviest, it's where your centre is. All your weight is there. All the person in there is whizzing your arm. So if make a normal frame, he wants to pass this arm under my body, and that happens a lot. I just whiz at the arm, I'll move around north south, open up the space, I'll put my hand in the collar where it's deep, and I'll spin it back and it's over. That arm has to be passed under my armpit for this escape. So I can't reach back and whiz at his arm. That's called a whizzer. So, but the problem is, it's a huge movement to get his right arm where he needs it. Okay? But when you make a different frame, his arm is already where he wants to be. So when he walks his hips away, elbows now passes the arm out, it's a lot harder for me to do what I want to do. The arm is already under the body, he hasn't got to pass it very far, he's passing it maybe from there to there rather than all the way. Everybody clear on that? Do you all know that escape, by the way? No?
I have taught it, maybe.
Yeah, it's okay. I have the same thing with my own students. I swear sometimes I'm speaking Klingon. You know? But hey, bless them. I won't do any white belt jokes today because we are really outnumbered. So I'll keep that on a respectful level. But he has to pass this arm down, through and over. The arm is already there. He just got to literally lift this, just make a bigger frame with this, let the hand slide out, and he's already in that position. He hasn't got to move the arm very far, so it's quicker. Also remember, when you bridge out from this technique, you should already be on your side when you bridge. You're bridging sideways, not bridging up. Is that clear? Because you've got to bridge up, create space, and you've got to turn. It's not efficient. He wants to go that way, you bridge in that direction. And that's one thing you must remember with this escape. So he walks his hips first, creates some space. He's on his side already now. He bridges, passes the arm, and that's very quick, very efficient. It puts me in a big dangerous situation where he's now got a head and arm position where there's multiple attacks for him. I always teach, to begin with, I don't teach guard recovery. I always teach how to get on top from bad positions. White belt question. Do you know why I always teach that first? What's the main reason you're in side control, do you think? Because?
The guy got past.
I got past. So why recover guard? So you can pass it again. and again. And again. If the guy is smashing through your guard, recovering guard's probably not the best choice. But if he's a great guard passer, maybe he's not a great guard player. If he is, man, you've got problems. But at least you're on top when you've got the problems. You're not going to crash from the bottom, okay? So I like to teach reversals where you come and get from the bottom to on top to start with, then guard recovery later. So one more time, please. So I want the person on top just to relax. Muscle memory, let the person do the drill. Make the frame, the person stays chest to chest, he's got the cross face, he's linking his hands together. The first thing you do is walk your hips away. Turn to your side and bridge. Come straight out. You end up in this head and arm position. The arm that comes out goes over my neck, and the other arm stays over my armpit. Thank you. Anybody want to see me? See me do that again? No? So no one's going to get this wrong then, no?
Try not to.
Should we do it once more? Well, I've got a sin bin. Anybody that says to me they know it and gets it wrong goes to my sin bin. Or talks about football. Sin bin. I've put no in that sin bin every time this week. I put 2 minutes on the clock and he has to stay on the mat. Stay off the mat. Okay, so guys, first of all, look, my elbow is blocking his hip. But my elbow is not as strong as Seymour's body, so he moves first. As he turns to his side, he bridges sideways, over the top, head and arm. Perfect. Please remember, you must bridge when you're on your side, and do not bridge when you're flat on your back. That's one of the biggest mistakes you'll make in this position. All good? Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you just, so, it's going to sound a dumb question because I did say bridge, but are you just rolling over to get on top, or do you mean literal big?
I walk here, then I bridge here.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's all coming through the hips.
Yeah.
All through the hips. If you leave your hips on the floor, it's like the more of your body on the floor, more friction, harder it is to move. So you really want to bridge. And when you bridge, you're pushing your whole body into your opponent. More importantly, your arm is hitting me about here on my arm and my armpit, so I can't reach back. It's one of the most important things, because the whizzer kills his guard pass. One of the biggest killers is this escape on me in a whizzer. The mistake I see most is people bridging flat on the back and passing the arm along the belt. That's just a route of suicide. Okay? So, work in threes, I think, because it is kind of busy. Work in threes, so one person down, the 2 people with him, he does the escape on both people, and you keep swapping, guys, okay? Perfect.
It's going to do it all night.
We're always making a frame. The whole point is we're always controlling space, the space that we need. Okay, so all he does is get right. So he's just here. Notice now, look, it's impossible for me to put my chest on his chest. Physically impossible. The frame's in the way. So he has space to move. As he walks, he opens this elbow here. Or this pushes me further away, so his hand can come out. Remember, his hand is already on the correct side of my body. He's not got to move it from one side all the way to the other. It's already there. He's already in the correct position. That's why it's efficient. His hand has not got to travel all the way down his own body line and around, which is a long movement. Okay. So, as he walks his hips, this elbow lifts. It's bridging into me slightly. His hand comes out, around, and over the top into here. Do not worry about the submission. Because if you can't do the first bit, there is no submission. You are stuck. Okay? I am watching all of you. Especially you. Okay. You've got to take the arm out from under the body. If you leave it there, the guy puts his weight on you, you'll collapse back again, flat, and he's still in side control. This is the kicker about side control escapes. Do you really think the guy on top doesn't know what you're doing? It's just like, oh, that was new. He knows the escape you're doing. So not only have you got to escape, you've got to escape with an escape that he knows you're going to do. That's where the problem comes in. Sorry to put down on the whole situation. Okay? But you've got to do it in a way that he can't counter. So you've got to create the space to start with. You've got to walk your hips. If you don't walk your hips, I'm too close. Okay? For every escape that you pretty much do from side control, you want to create distance between your hips and my hips. It's the most important thing to start with. When I've got my elbow on the floor, it's just my medial deltoid, just a small muscle. Well, it's massive on my shoulders, but for you guys it's quite small. Okay? But his body will still open the space. It's really important that you move your hips first. Okay? It's really important. Otherwise, everything becomes more, or my counters become more efficient because I'm closer to you. So one more time, look. Just walk your hips and stop. Look how far away he is from me already. He's already created that much space already just by moving his hips. Nothing bad happens by moving your hips. Okay? He then partly makes a frame of part. Look, I can't stop that. He's already on his side. Now he bridges. Oh, comes out, over the top, and just lifts his hand again. Just a few more minutes, guys. Let's go. Thanks. Please see one. Bridging is quite important. It puts all your body weight into the person. It's hard for me to reach back and raise the arm if all your body pushing. More importantly, you stretch your body out and it's easy to turn. If he brings his knees to his chest, he can't get to his knees. It's too difficult. So even in this position here, you have to do it wrong for me. That's explain to you. I'll explain to you how to do it wrong. So just walk hips away, pass the arm under my body. Now pull your knees to your chest. Now turn. He has to stretch to turn. He has to bridge. If your knees are really close to your body, you can't get to your knees. They're in the way. So he bridges. It's like a bridge and roll. He bridges and then turns. It's easy to turn now because his body is stretched out. He then brings his knees to his chest afterwards. Is that kind of clear for everybody? Mm-hmm. I know there's a lot of details. I'm sorry, but that's what Jiu-Jitsu is, details. Any questions? Please ask them if you have any doubts.
Yeah, I've got a question. On that pass-through, how hard should they be hitting that armpit and then shoulder? Or is it like a smooth?
How hard can you bridge?
Well, I guess something like that.
Yeah, that's about right. Man, I mean, if you've got it, use it. I mean, Roger said something really, really funny years ago. He said, well, man, there's no harm in being strong. It's very, very true. He's really strong. I mean, it's about applying your strength to the technique, so the technique becomes strong. It's not using strength from bad technique. You know, if you've got a nice bridge and it's technical, I'm not going to say don't bridge out of mount, because no one's going to stop you probably. AKA Sylvia. He wants to bridge, he's going to bridge. No one's going to stop him from that. Okay? But do it in a technical way. Once you pass your arm under my body, you should be bridging as you're passing the arm. So all your body's pushing into me. Otherwise, the strong guy's going to bring his elbow back, whizzer your arm, put you flat, and start choking you. And that is the common counter to this escape. That's why I keep telling you, don't ever pass his arm under the belt. it's hard to turn because all the guy's weight's on you. And what if the guy does that, he will whizzer the arm. Every single time, if the guy passes the belt here, it's that easy to counter the arm. And this is what the biggest problem is with this escape, is people do that. Rather than pass it, bridge into my, I can't, now go. Now look, it just torques my shoulder, all his weight's behind that. That's why you've got to bridge. You don't bridge up, you're bridging sideways. You're bridging the way you're turning. You don't bridge up and then go that way, you bridge the way you're going to go. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? Cool. Okay, any other questions on this particular escape? Good, okay. Back again. So, it's also important that you can go the other way. Okay, so here. So Seamus going to just walk his hips away to start with. Here. And that's the most thing, he's walked his hips away. Okay, every single time it creates space for the elbow to do something or other. Okay, now he's going to lift his hips and bridge into me slightly. Now he's going to pass this arm under my armpit. He's going to roll flat and take a single leg. Yeah, pull the knee towards you and put me on my back. The thing about this position is, the more he walks his hips, the shallower my pressure is. And his arm is already in the correct position. This arm here, who's in my armpit, he's already there. He's closer to the position he needs to be in. But he's still going to walk the hips away. So he walks his hips, he bridges up, he passes this arm under my body, he comes down really low on my leg, that's it. Pulls the knee in, sweeps me here. Reasons why you walk the hips. If he bridges and passes the arm without walking, rip the bridge, pass the arm. I'm just going to mount it because he's too close. Walk hips away, then stop. Stop. How am I going to mount him now? He's already too far away. So please remember the most important thing is to walk the hips first. With the first technique, walk the hips. The second this technique, walk the hips. Don't get lazy on me. So, also it's important to go for the leg. Pass the arm really, really low. The higher up, it's okay if you're 100 kilos. It becomes a dog fight, which you'll probably win. But when you're small, the person leans on you, you start to collapse again. By going low on the body, my weight starts going over you, which means you come behind me. You come around to my back now. So it's important you go very, very low on the body, for a smaller person anyway. So walk the hips, bridge up, pass the arm really, really low. There. Now if I'm leaning now, he just walks around to my back. Because my weight goes over him. If he passes the arm under my armpit, I can't put him back on the floor if I switch my hips. I'm in side control facing that way. So you're going to go really, really low on the leg. You want to see again?
Yes, please.
Cool.
Just to reiterate, the point you're saying is, with this version, I don't go with my up on your...
No. This version, you go very, very low on the leg. So my weight starts coming over you, not into you. So once again, so now he's going to pass this arm, but notice this arm's already in the correct position to pass under my body. It's already under my body. He walks his hips, he bridges, he passes the arm. There you go. Come to here. If I don't move now, he just grabs my knee with the other hand. And once again, he's getting on top. He's reversing the position. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Let's go, guys. So, any question on that technique? Notice we're always using underhooks at the moment. They either got the body or under the arm. It's always underhooks. Underhooks are king. Not just for jiu-jitsu, but for wrestling as well. It's always about underhooks and whizzers and things like that. Side control and half guard have the same rules. Whoever has the underhook generally has control, generally speaking. What I mean by that is, because they don't pick these up. If I let Sim have an underhook here, and I put all my weight on him and he bridges, he has the control. If I get the hook, and he bridges, he's generally done. Rule of thumb. Get that underhook. For these type of escapes, it's all about underhooks. For guard recovery, you're replacing your legs. It's something completely different. I'm not going to do guard recovery today. all the escapes will be based around getting into an attacking position. Okay, so you switch positions. So any questions about passing the arm under the armpit? Yes.
Is there a reason you'd use the first one over the second?
Preference and also it's where the body weight is. You know, I can't tell you that. You have to feel that for yourself. But you know, if all the weight is on this side, I'm going to pass this arm under the body. If all the weight is this side, I'll pass that arm under the body. I want to pass the arm where there's less pressure. Even when I'm doing all the right things, I want to do where there's less pressure. And you do have to be explosive with it. Bridge into the position. You can leave your bum on the floor, but it's better to bridge. When in doubt, bridge, move your hips. Yep.
What if they try to kind of follow you around as you're stepping around to get the angle?
That is why we walk our hips away first. We create as much space as possible before we attempt the technique.
But will they not try and follow you though?
Exactly, of course they will.
Okay.
Yeah, they're going to be chasing after you. I'll tell you what we'll do is I'm going to jump. The technique I was going to do at the end, I'll do now. Kind of make that. That's a very good question. We're going to cover the wrestler's pin. It's not I'll say one of the most common ways to hold side control. It's one of the most awkward things. The wrestler's pin is when the person is here and both hands are on the same side of the body. Okay, you're like this. The thing with this is, it doesn't really matter now. His guard recovery is not going to work because I'm already blocking the guard recovery. I'm here. The only thing to do is just turn and roll away from me. That's all he can do really, because going into me is not going to work. Everything's on the inside. But what's the rule? What's the first rule of jiu-jitsu? Is don't give your what? That's what he's doing. So how does he escape from this position? If he can't turn in, he has to turn away. Let me just do it. So the key point here is he's here. So what I do now is do the same thing. I walk, but I walk over my arm and bring my arm up. So when he chases after me, which is what he's going to do, I can catch him before he gets there. The most important thing to remember is, look, I'm going to give my back. He knows I'm going to give my back, but I don't want him to have my back. Yeah, that's correct, pretty much. So I've got to walk my hips first. I'm going to create so much distance that I'm too far away. So in this situation, when I'm here, look, this hand pops out to the neck. I'm already catching him before he comes in. So we'll do this one next, kind of, I'll answer that question. And it's the same principle of what we've just done with the first two techniques. We're always walking our hips first. Yeah.
Putting the pressure across the neck or across the jawbone?
You generally don't put pressure on the neck for many reasons. That's his spine, that's where all his weight is. You know, there's many reasons why you always put the pressure on the ear, because that puts pressure on his neck. It's like if I'm doing an armbar and he's driving back into me to defend it. If I put my leg on his neck, you know, all his weight would be on my leg, but if I put my leg on his ear, all it's doing is redirecting his weight and twisting his neck. So if I'm going for an arm lock here, and I'm in this position here, and he's a heavy guy driving into me, he can stack me, but when I move my leg to his ear, it just makes it easy for me to go for the arm lock. So I just slide my leg up to the ear. Same thing here. If I put my hand on his neck, all his body weight is on my hand, even though I'm stiff arming. Okay, still a lot of weight there. So it always goes to the ear or jaw. Don't put the thumb in the eye, unless the referee's on that side. Okay. Now you to me. So I'm in a wrestler's pin. All he does now is put the nearest hand to my neck, and he pushes. Now look, think before you walk away, come back. Look how close my hips are to his hips. When he pushes, put bed and stop. He's now put this much space between him and me. My own body's in my own way now. Unless I change levels, and if I do that, I'm letting him out anyway. I can't get close to him. See what I mean? But my head, my own body's in the way of my hips now. He pushes down. Now he walks as far as he can. Look how far away he is. So when I chase after him, he can catch me. Somebody doesn't like it. Too risky, I hear. Don't get guard past. Okay, one more time. So, wrestler's pin, I'm here. He pushes my head down, he walks his hips away, brings his hand up, so if I'm chasing after him. Now just do it full speed, see if I can get to your back. Bear in mind I'm old and I'm broken. Actually, you're old as well. Let's go. So, it's a race, but he creates so much space, he's going to win that one, hopefully. We are stuck for match space, so I think we should just do it in groups. What do you think?
Yep. Is it into like working amongst yourselves? All going dance. So shall we lightly work your own way?
Shall we just
Like I said, good question. They are going to change. What? Make the normal frames. Right. Never do the technique. Where's the problem?
Well, you won't do your rest of the thing.
Oh shit! Sorry. You carried away all the difference.
Here we go.
Yeah. I now know he's going to do it because he's had to pass the arm to the inside. Because he's out of position. He's already in the wrong place. Make what we're doing now. Do the same thing. It's gone. But again, don't be scared to walk as far as you can. There comes a point when you've walked so far the hand starts to move away from the head. That's the point you roll over your arm, turn to your knees. Till you've walked that far away, you just keep walking and walking and walking, and when you feel the pressure coming on, you'll feel the pressure on the hand, that's when you turn it. Man, so at night I do it at like quarter speed. But the most important thing is create distance. So here, he pushes my head down, he walks, he walks, he walks, he walks. How far away he is. No, keep going, keep going. He's all the way over there. He's miles away from me, so I'm chasing, it's like trying to catch smoke. Okay? Don't be scared to walk, it's the most important thing, keep walking away. And notice, for the first technique, we walk our hips away. For the second technique, we walk our hips away. For the third, it's always the same thing, create distance first. All clear? Mm-hmm. A bit more time, guys, thank you. So, covered two basic cyclocross escapes using underhooks, one under the body, one under the armpit on each side. Covered the running escape as well. Notice you don't have to change your hand position for all three escapes, it's the same thing. It's just as well because I have a problem remembering a lot of these details, and it's just simple things to remember. And this frame is easy to do, it doesn't take any more effort doing this than just to go here. It's just this. You've just got to realise when you're getting your guard past that you're making no more mistakes. I won't go through the whole Cursiana thing because we all know that. And move your hips. Make a frame and move your hips. If you don't have any space, everything becomes harder. When you've got space to work with, everything becomes easier. So make sure you make a good frame and move your hips. Just remember those two things today. You kind of learn something very, very important. I remember when I was a blue belt years and years ago, I was a complete idiot with a big mouth, and I was in Brazil, and I told a black belt wrist locks don't work. I did not know he was wrist lock guy. That's how bad my luck was back then. And then he proceeded to wrist lock me at every opportunity, and then told his mates to wrist lock me. That's as far as that wrist actually bends. There's so much damage in there, it doesn't go past that. Even Roger could not bend that wrist any further. And then he bent it that way and made me scream so much, it's unbelievable. But it doesn't go any further that way. And I couldn't train. So I asked Del Heber for a private lesson. And I said, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Oh, Del Heber, God." He goes, "Oh, my friend, I see you train. I think they work on some defence." I've never been told I suck in a nice way in my life. And he's taught me about hand positions for defence, and where your hands should be, where your hands need to be. And it's probably the best lesson I've ever had. 40 minutes of just being told where you need to be, the hands go here, and it's just, it improves the whole of your game. There's not one small part of it. I was still getting submitted when I got back from Brazil, but not so often. Okay, and the thing is, you kind of know when you've made a mistake a lot earlier. Then you kind of in your brain's going, I hope he hasn't noticed this. Okay, but I mean, you kind of know when you've gone wrong. And this is kind of all the kind of stuff I'm showing you now is pretty much part of that lesson back then. hand positions. You need to put your hands in places people can't get hold of them, and also you've always got to create space, especially for the smaller guy or the girl, because the girl, I mean, don't carry as much muscle mass as a man does. You know, you can't power your way out of things. If you let somebody control your head, you're going to get stuck. Don't never let anybody control your head. Always make a good frame, always control space, and that's one of the things he explained. Easier said than done, mind you. But it's kind of one of the things he always explains that. Any questions on the running escape? Actually, I don't know the name of that one. Okay, so you push the head down to your hip. Don't push up. You don't want him changing levels. You're pushing down towards your hips, always down. Walk your hips away. Keep the arm extended. The arm must be locked. We stiff arming the person. Heavy guy will push back in and collapse the arm. It must be locked out. And then you walk as far as you can. You'll know when to turn because the pressure starts coming off the hand. When that happens, you walk over your own arm and bring your arm up immediately. So it's this, 1, 2, 3, and then come up with the arm immediately in case he's chasing after you. Okay? And that's pretty much all the details on that escape. So, any questions? Yep.
Would you end up with north-south because of this gap and creation?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, at the end of the day, it depends on your opponent, how quick he is and how slow you are. If I'm making a traditional frame and I've got a bridge, pass my hand in, I'm kind of telling him what I'm doing before I've even gone anywhere. At least with this, I can just go really, really quickly and walk away. End of the day, look, he's past your guard, he's on top, he's in control. That's the problem with side control. This is not your magic solution to the problems. All this does is allow you to keep space you would normally have had, and you can move. Two things you need to escape is space and movement. Okay? And with a bit of practice and luck, find yourself in a good position. But notice we're not recovering guard, guys. We're always getting on top in all three situations here. Something I was going to say, and now I've forgotten. That's because I'm old.
One thing I had is there's some people, when they hold side control with a crossface, they're gripping a bit of gi underneath as well to really lock it down.
Yeah.
And I can't physically move my arm to even frame it.
I generally don't pull the lapel out unless I want to do the Bravo choke. Again, the Bravo choke, the escape is the same. That's the thing. I mean, the most important thing is remember the principle. That's the point. So look, lay down quickly. You see, a lot of times in jiu-jitsu, the guy gets the gi here. He passes the gi around here. He puts the knee on the chest. He comes to here. Now he wants to start going for the attack here. You see him using one of his arm to defend. I'll just pull this across here and finish the choke. These things are always a problem. He can push my knee off if he wants to because the hand. No, run away from him. Same principle, same escape, different situation. I come back here. Do the same escape. No, don't pass that on. Just do the running escape. Same situation. It's the same thing over and over and over and over and over for many situations. Not just the three we've just covered, but the two I've just shown there as well. What have you done any differently? Nothing. So it's kind of easy for people to remember as well. But it's not your, don't forget, I mean, it's not the magic escape that will open every door. You know, it's one of the things that will give you the opportunity to escape. You're free to move because you've created space, and you are actually moving because of it, and that's two things you need. Cool. Okay, we've got about half an hour, so let's just do some Q&A on other things. I mean, doesn't have to do it all on side control stuff?
No, it can be anything, open it out to anyone.
Cool. Okay, so I mean, side control, like I've already said before we do some Q&A, is a mixed bag of problems because the guy on top can make small adjustments to keep you pinned there. And that is why it's a problem. Every time I've done a Q&A session at my academy, I think every single time, apart from maybe just one ever, side control was not a question, or some part of side control was not a question. It seems to be everybody's nightmare. Okay. Things like switching hips. Yeah. Now, if I'm making a normal frame here, see my switching faces my head here. I've got to lock out here. I've got to move out. Quickly, he'll make a frame. He'll push on my shoulder here. I'll move his hips. And I'll move my hips. Again, it's the same thing. You've got to make a frame. If I get to here, he moves his hips to the side, and I can't do this way, I will go this way. But again, I'm stiff arming. I'm making a frame. If I can't get distance between his head and my head and frame off, all the other things we do come into play. When he switches his hips to face my hips, that normally happens on me trying to recover guard. Not in other situations, because he'll turn away from my knee coming. I'll show you, just in case. So side control. If he brings his knee under my body, I'll reach over his head and I'll turn my hips this way. I'll get inside the elbow, I'll back up here and start doing this kind of stuff. So normally switching the hips to face the hips comes on a guard recovery. Normally you switch hips to face the head when somebody's pushing on your hip. That way you get under the elbow. He's open the elbow for you. At the very beginning, he's opened the elbow for you. Or you're trying to force it open yourself. So that's the reason why people generally switch the hips for those situations generally. If I'm pushing the hip, you're not going to turn and face my hips. A, you can't. That's probably why. And if putting them at the end of your body, switching and facing the hip, the head isn't really a great option, especially if you've got the underhook. So it's always for those reasons generally. All I can think of is side control. Yeah. Cool. So, Q&A.
Any technique, anything. You know.
Can I ask about escaping guard without being tripped, which is usually what happens to me?
Close guard?
Yeah.
Close guard. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways to deal with the situation. Generally, you're taught to stand up from close guard.
Yeah.
The thing about guards are, some guards you need to stand up, some guards you shouldn't stand up, depending on what it is. Close guard, generally you're taught to stand up, always. My instructor always taught me to stand up. How do I like to stand up? Well, generally, how do you start your attack on me? Good. So I know straight away when he wants to put that hand in the collar. That tells me he's a right-hander. So I generally put my hand on his wrist, the other hand on his elbow, I pin it onto his chest. And I'll stand up here in this situation. And one way or the other, I'll start passing to the side of the arm. It's generally how I approach the position. I like to go 2-on-1. Even if he's got a hand in my collar, I'll come here, I'll break the grip, and I'll go 2-on-1 here. So I'm controlling his dominant arm. I'll pin that into his chest. I'll raise the leg on the same side first. I'll stand up, bring him to me, elbow tight in here, and I'll start to open this way. I'll pass to the same side of the arm. So I'm passing to the arm I'm dominating. For me, that's the kind of thing I would do from close guard.
Okay, that's a good question. Is there a reason why you're, when you're doing that, you're keeping the cross grip rather than the same side grip?
Yeah. It's easier for me to smash past after I've opened the guard.
Got you.
Because I'm here, I've got this arm I can use to come over the leg.
Got you.
Now I'm dominating. If I'm here, he's defending with this arm. Push my elbow. Now he can defend a lot easier. So I always pass to the side of the arm I'm controlling.
And as long as you've got him and he's not got you, there's no additional risk of having the cross grip rather than the same side.
I've seen one of my old friends, old black belts I used to train in Brazil, a guy called Hasil Abi Rihan. He's a Muslim guy from Brazil, who was born in Brazil, now teaches in Abu Dhabi. He's an old Carlson racing. He's an absolute monster for an older guy, absolute monster. He's the guy that dropped from Master 2 to Adult and fought Victory Steamer in the Brasileiros a few years ago. And he's a guy, he's like 38 years old, just fought Adult, fought Victory Steamer, Victor Paul closed guard. He stood up with the same side grip, opened the guard this side, took the foot, stepped across and foot locked him. I mean, you know, he's a monster of a guy. Super nice guy, unless you're rolling with him. And he's a super nice guy. Man, some people can't roll line. Funny enough, Fitch is one of those guys you can't roll. Man, I mean, he's always like, big smile, you slap hands, like... He'd absolutely make mincemeat of you, and they go, oh, great roll. Yeah, for you. Great for me. Yeah, so I mean, we all have our own way of doing things. The way I was shown was if you're going to dominate the right arm, pass to the right hand side. Okay, in that situation. So for me, it's about standing up, hips forward, good posture, good base. Taking that arm takes away a lot of the basic counters people want to do. It kills a lot of stuff he wants to do. Okay, and then you pass the same side of the arm you're controlling. Just makes things easier for you, because the arm he wants to push away with, I've already got hold of. The far arm doesn't really do too much damage to me. And you can either pass your arm under leg to smash, or you'll put your shin over the top to smash from there.
Is that fun?
All good, but you'll see that again, or you're okay?
I see that again. I just felt that his left arm could have gotten
Yeah.
your right through.
Yeah, that's what they did because they ended up tripping me. I remember.
Yeah, I mean, the single lumberjack sweep is my favourite sweep ever, pretty much, for competition, because it always leads to mount. I always generally do it this way, so it's in a single lumberjack sweep. I let him get what he wants. I just go here, I bring the person in, I'll sweep the person up, and I'll just come to mount here. That's the sweep you're talking about. Yeah? Is that the sweep you want? Yeah, okay. The key point here is placing. Now come back on the floor. Take my sleeve, cross grip, hand on my elbow, other hand on my elbow. That's it. Now put stiff arm, stiff arm. Now put all your weight and stand up. Lift the sleeve up in the air, put it to your hip.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do from there because he has too much control. Just too much, because I'm not controlling, he's controlling me. If I can't make it work, I want to invert my hand to continue the lumberjack sweep. But he has my arm control, I don't have two arms. Could I sweep somebody from there with that control? It's awkward, because he's pulling my arm up across his body, I'm twisting the wrong way. I would say I've probably got maybe a 2 or 3% chance of sweeping somebody, even somebody who's a lot smaller than me, I've seen more from there. It's heavily in his favour. I'll need to break that grip to do that attack. Again, could it happen? Unlikely, but anything's possible. Again, there is a counter to everything. But for that particular sweep, it's my favourite. I mean, the devil's always in the detail though. I can get this grip and make other mistakes. Like my elbow's not on the inside, it's on the outside. Now he can turn for the omoplata. He won't get the omoplata, but he'll knock me off balance. I'm still off balance now. Now look, he'll come back for the triangle. If my elbow's tucked in, do the same thing. There's nothing. Now there's no triangle. It's just a guard pass. Let's just say that's exactly what we do for standing up. So I can make other mistakes later on. But if I do the pass correctly, keep my elbow jammed to my hip where it should be, it doesn't give him a lot of options now. Okay? All good? There's many ways to do that, to deal with that situation. Roger will just get both lapels in one hand. He'll take your sleeve. He'll stand up. He'll let go of the sleeve. He'll retain one lapel, and he'll just open the guard and smash it anyway. That works for him. I just find I have a lot of problems passing guard off the lapels. I have less problems when I cross grip the sleeve. That kind of works for me. Okay? But you shouldn't disregard other things. There's lots of other ways to do it. Some people get both lapels, pick them off the floor, sit you in the chair, push on the belt from there. Again, that works quite well for some people. I find that awkward as well to deal with. It counts to everything, but I mean, there are all different ways to do the same thing.
That's
very old school.
Yeah. Well, people then generally will control both sleeves. It's like doing a Sperry pass. It's not really a pass. Because somebody gets your belt and backs away, everybody grabs the sleeves, and then as you open the guard, they go hook and spider guard. So you're really not really passing from there. All you do is going from closed guard to spider guard. That's all you are. If you're going to open the guard that way, they'll learn how to pass spider guard because you'll be in it every single time afterwards. Yeah. The same thing from the chair. So people normally do put a triangle around your legs and flip you to the side.
What's the chair?
The chair is I'm a lot. Cool. Is what people do is they go into here. They go 1, 2 here, and then go up in the air and sit you here. And they'll just start opening the guard from here in this situation. So yeah, that's the way the situation in the chair. Very old school. But I still find it very hard to deal with people who do that really, really well.
Don't show the counters to that, please.
Yeah.
What's your favourite brand of shampoo?
Yeah, I know it's kind of funny because I like to pass with double unders. I've got a whole array of stuff I do from there. Delhiva came over last year and we teach. I'm like, mate, you're supposed to be my friend. You just destroyed my whole passing game in one seminar. He goes, oh, my friend, you must learn something new. I do now. Thank you. Cool. So, yes.
So, I end up kind of pulling half guard quite a lot. And when I get flattened, is there any way to kind of recover from that? Yeah, that's where I struggle because
Yeah, well, first of all, man, why are you pulling half guard?
I kind of like.
Have you tried Ollie Geddes at all?
No.
Good. If you do, you'll continue pulling half guard.
I think I just end up in it, really.
Half guard is one of these positions where whether you play it or not, you always end up in. You know, I don't play half guard. I always play Delhiva and reverse Delhiva, always have done. Then 2 years ago I made a decision that I'm going to start playing half guard because I've neglected it for the last 14 years. I'm going to play half guard. So for the last 2 years, up until about 2 or 3 months ago, I played nothing but half guard the whole time. And I come to realise that the position sucks. Everybody that's good at it is short and stocky. Nobody my height plays Delhiva for a reason. And I'm using that to why I still suck at it. I just find that I'm always carrying somebody's body weight. People are always pressuring me all the time. If I put a Delhiva hook in, your hip is on the end of my leg and I can control distance, I'm very, very mobile. I don't want to be here continually framing off looking for underhooks. So I found that for me the position of my body type it doesn't work well. I still use it, but I use it as a place to go somewhere else. When you're flattened out, cross-facing underhook, and you have to change the position. Okay. If I was to say half butterfly, half guard, would you know what I meant?
No.
Of course. I will show you what I mean. So look, in this situation here, under the crossface, I'm in a world of trouble. So look, what I generally do from here is I will pull out the lapel on this side. Because look, the shoulders in my face. Everybody come around this way, please. The shoulders really, really tight in my face from here. So if I'm flat, I need to go to my side before I can do anything. So look, be strong, my friend. Don't be like water, be like steel. So look, I start pulling. Now I'm on my side, I put my butterfly hook in. I sweep off of that.
Can I see that again?
You just do it a whole month.
I've literally just done a whole month of butterfly and half guard, half butterfly off the lapels. That's what I've taught for the last pretty much 3 weeks. So look, key is this. I've got to pull his shoulder away from my neck. It's like climbing a rope. You just keep pulling and pulling and pulling. Now, I hook his arm, because I need it for later on. I close my elbow so he can't underhook me. No, sorry, I can't take his arm out. The most important thing now is, in half guard, he wants to be close and tight. That's what he needs to be. When I stake out and put my butterfly hook in here, so this foot now is on the inside of his knee, I'm not in half guard anymore, I'm in half guard, half butterfly. For this position, he wants to be as far away from me as possible, but he can't posture. I've already got it controlled. I've changed the position, but I've made sure that he can't change his, and I change mine. So now look, I elevate here, I sweep, I bring my hip across to the other side. I must switch sides in this position. If you can't sweep, then recover close guard. I used this actually in the World Championships, that blue belt. Well, 12 years ago now. But I didn't sweep. I get to here, put my knee through, I recovered guard, and I got to this position, which is my favourite from close guard. I love this. So I just put myself back into my strong position from there. But yeah, so you must get the shoulder out of your face because you're flat, you can't move. You must get onto your side. If you can't get on your side, man, you've got problems. So pull the lapel out. You've got time, you ain't going anywhere. Pull the lapel away so the shoulder's away from your neck. Now turn onto your side. Keep the cross grip and hook the arm so he can't post his hand out. Hip out, butterfly hook goes in, and when you put the butterfly hook in, it's always this. Hip out, it goes in underneath the leg, not on top, always underneath. Now take this leg out, butterfly sweep, and come under the top. You must switch sides to the other side because he still has the underhook.
Why do you put the leg underneath as you come in for the butterfly, the half butterfly?
That is a half butterfly now. It's now half guard, half butterfly.
But why do you put your leg underneath rather than...
If he's on top, I'm in the way of myself. I want to lift his knee. If I'm half guard here, I go over the top and I lift here, this leg's still getting caught. I need to take this leg out. So I'm not trapping my leg. I'm trapping my leg now. So here, I put it underneath, I take my half guard hook out, the butterfly hook's still in. That's why I elevate him and come over the top. So, if I go here, I'm trapping my leg. I want to be here so I can just now lift off this. Okay? So that's one way of dealing with it. There is other ways to deal with the same situation. There are, but I find that very efficient. Okay, I've seen this one as well, which works quite well. Well, the guy comes here. And bridge over the top. If you've got a nice bridge, it works well. Grab the belt, inside the knee, pull the guy in and start to sit up as fast as you can. So you're pushing into it, roll back, you bridge, punch the knee over the top.
Can I see that again?
From here, look, so what I do is I grab the inside of his knee and I grab his belt. I put my foot on the floor and I bridge this way here. And over the top. I do use that, but I prefer to put the butterfly hook in, it's just preference. Two things you can do from there. Who likes rolling upside down? I used to, then I got old and fat. So, again from here, what I do is I reach underneath here to the knee. I go this way, over the top. It's like going tornado guard, like Seaboard does. But that was, he stole that from a letter. For you older guys, you know who Loretta is?
Awesome.
Yeah, he called it the Engineero sweep, and then 15 years later, Seaboard called it the tornado sweep? Tornado sweep, yeah. So you lift your hip, reach underneath, grab the inside the knee, invert upside down, kick him over your head, just like that. If you're not flexible, don't try it. Cool. So yeah, 3 things you can do from that position. Have a play with them, see which ones you like the best. But they all work well for certain individuals who like to play that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Time for one more question, guys.
Oh.
Whoa!
Already in there.
I don't know.
I'm straight in there.
We've got to go to the video panel here, that's pretty close.
We said about people who like to roll upside down. As soon as anyone inverts, if we're not engaged, I don't know how to engage them. So if someone's just there and they just invert, I'm just like,
Just showing their muscles to you. I really like it.
I mean,
There is that, but then it's, you know, he's just, I just like, if I go here, I'm going to get stretched. If I go here, I get stretched. I just get locked down and I just don't do anything.
lots of people play inverted guard and they're all injured. I'm joking. Who remembers a kid called Dan the Legard? Great kid, lovely kid, really nice. He's supposed to be making a comeback, he said. He's not done BJJ in 6 years. His lower back was destroyed because he's like 20 years old or something. You know who's my Super Diamantis? Another great kid. Could never block a crossface. Always used his flexibility to get out of trouble. Now he's got 2 herniated discs in his spine and can't train. Roller, block a crossface. But you know, I mean, if you're young and flexible and you're made of rubber, rolling upside down is great.
Yes, anyway.
When you're 40 years old, however,
38.
that okay, inverted guard, roll upside down. The key for me here is I'm always going to cross grip, always. Don't have your elbow open, elbow to your knee. I don't really mind what happens from here. But all I do from here is just sorry, I should have warned you. Yeah. Again,
I'm trying to twist my legs one way and the shoulders one way.
Yeah. Yeah, spines don't twist, that's why you do it. So again from here, I don't really reaching in. You know, all I do is cross grip here. Legs to pass, legs to arm boss. Tight to the head. So again from here, watch. He's got my sleeves, got my trousers. Same thing, over the head. The problem comes is if you don't stand up and you stay low on the knees. His foot goes across into my armpit. It's a triangle every single time. And I'm always hunting for triangles and omoplatas from now, always. Leave these gaps here, you're asking for it. Elbows should always be tucked in. It's always a cross grip. Never same side, it's always a cross. Okay, then it's either you stretch.
So actually it's the same, sir. It's not upside down.
Technically, yeah. Might be for the cross.